Hello, it's Mark, and welcome to another whiskey review. It's still March, so we're going to do another Irish whiskey. And today we have Bushmills Black Bush. Never had anything from Bushmills. Well, no, I don't. No, I've never had anything from Bushmills. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and pour it. Let it open up. So I can tell you this is an Irish whiskey. So it's got both malted and unmalted barley. It is triple distilled. However, this is what they consider a blended Irish whiskey. Now, blended Irish whiskey and blended Scotch have different meanings. So, if you have a blended Scotch whiskey, it has blends from different distilleries. A blended Irish whiskey is still all from the same distillery, but what it has is both malted barley and grain. So that is why it's called a blend. But I'm gonna go ahead and roll this. Ooh, that is a lot in there. Whew. Can't roll it. There's too much in there. So, okay. All right, what can I tell you about Bushmills? There's nothing I'm going to be able to read you on the label. So, Bushmills is actually in Northern Ireland, which is actually part of the UK. But because it's on the mainland of Ireland, it can still be called Irish whiskey, even though it is not in the Republic of Ireland. So, Bushmills claims to be the oldest distillery in the world, starting in 1608. And that's part of their brand. However, the distillery really wasn't founded until like 1784. They can claim to be the oldest single malt whiskey in the world, but yeah, as far as being the oldest, it's hard to distinguish when they really, because 1784 is there was some other distilleries before that, but anyway, they claim 1608. They had a break in production in like 1802 and 1822. In 1885, a fire burned down the distillery, but they rebuilt and they've been in continuous operation since then. And of course, about that age was about like kind of like the big age. That's when Irish whiskey ruled the world. About in the late 1800s till Prohibition, and now Scotch far overrules Irish as far as numbers go, and sales. But around 1972, Jameson, Bushmills, and Powers kind of had to consolidate, and they moved their distillery to Cork, which is the Middleton distillery, and production was at an all-time low in 19. That's why they had to salvage the Irish whiskey. That's when everything else consolidated around 1972. They were even only distilling about 3 days a month. Bushmills was sold to Diageo in 2005, and then in 2014, I think I have this right. Bushmills, along with Jose Cuervo, was swapped for a 50% share of Don Julio. And so now Diageo, I think, owns Don Julio, and then Cuervo owns Bushmills. Or I guess Diageo is a 50% share of Don Julio. So anyway, Don Julio is a better tequila than Cuervo. So I go ahead and determine who made out better on that deal. So anyway, this is 40% ABV. It is filtered and it has added color. It's 80% malted barley and 20% from the grain, but it was all made at the same distillery. It's at least 3 years old and up to 7 years old, the whiskeys that went in there. So the grain whiskey is column distilled. The barley is pot stilled. This is aged in Ex-Oloroso sherry and ex-bourbon casks. So go ahead and show it to you there. I'll read you what, I don't know if there's really anything to read on this bottle, actually. It just says 1608. Again, that's what they claim. Black Bush Irish whiskey, triple distilled. Bushmills, 40% ABV. Irish whiskey. Yeah, there's really nothing on this, but this is, from what I understand, a bottle of this, 750 milliliters, is very reasonable. I understand it's in the $30 range. So they say this is a good bargain whiskey. As far as quality goes, it's, I'm not a huge Irish whiskey fan. I'm not going to judge Irish whiskey because I just don't drink enough of it. And most of it that I drank, I'm not a huge fan. So, although I like Glendalough for sure, and I like Redbreast. We'll see what I think of Bushmills, at least the black. So, all right, let's see what we get on the nose. I do get the sherry for sure. Brown sugar maple. Spices, but not bitter spices. This is sweet spices. This is like your nutmeg, your allspice, like baking spices. Brown sugar and maple. Yeah. Some cloves. I get a nutty nose to it. And I would go with walnuts, not almonds. Okay. There's a dried fruit in there, like a dried apricot. Okay. Definitely, yeah. Maybe, yeah, there's some sweet vanilla coming through. Okay. It smells pretty sweet. We'll see. This is very easy to drink because it's only 40 ABV. Very grainy. Cereal note. Honey. Caramel. Dried fruit again. Maybe raisins is the dried fruit I'm getting. Definitely got a nutty character to it. Sweet. Finishes medium short. A lot of grain. Honey sweetness. See if I get anything else on the nose. I'm getting maybe a little bit of that honey. Yeah, something's throwing me off. There's an apple, reminds me of maybe apple crisp. Because there's the apple, this is like, not like an apple like I bit off a tree. This is like an apple in apple crisp. Because that cereal note comes through and a little bit of cinnamon and the sweet brown sugar. Apple crisp. That's what this reminds me of. Yep, I'm going to go with like apple crisp. There's some vanilla coming through now. Okay. Very approachable, very drinkable. This could be an everydayer. And again, it's the low ABV. Grain, it's cereal note, that some of that apple and the sweet apple, cinnamon. Apple crisp is what it reminds me of. But very interesting because I didn't get much grain on the nose, but I got a lot of grain on the palate. Okay. This is good. Wow. I don't know how to grade this one. If the hat a higher ABV, I would say that it needs to be on your shelf. It's a good easy drink. If you need a mixer, you need something that you're not in for something ready for intense, very light whiskey, maybe when it's hot outside. So this has its niche. So in that sense, it belongs on your shelf. In other sense, if I don't know that I'd ever grab a bottle when I'm like in the mood. Certainly wouldn't look to it when I want something intense. So I'm going to go with 6.5 for that reason, because I don't know where it belongs, which I don't like to do halves. I've never done a half before. It's the first time I ever did a half. So, all right. See you next time.